A possible swing for a true WR1 that could change how defenses line up against us. A market opportunity at linebacker that could strengthen the middle without costing a fortune. A delicate situation around a key starter with real locker room, cap, and identity ripple effects. And on top of it all, a draft target on the pass rush side that tells you exactly what Vrabel wants to build. And I've got to ask you, would you pay big for immediate impact, or would you protect your picks and play the long game? Stick with me, because by the end, I'm going to tie these 4 pieces into one strategy, and it's sitting right in front of us. Some storylines come back every single offseason, and somehow they still get under your skin. A.J. Brown is that kind of name. It's never a normal day when he gets connected to New England again. And at the Combine, Mike Vrabel didn't exactly pour cold water on it. He talked with reporters about his relationship with Brown, said they stay in touch, they text, they talk about life, about growth, about maturity. And he made it a point to say it's not about where the guy plays. But in the NFL, when a head coach chooses to open that door publicly, he knows what he's feeding. Nothing is confirmed. There's no announcement, no deal, no guarantee anything happens. But the talk keeps getting oxygen because the fit is obvious. The Patriots need a real WR1. Elliott Wolf has made it clear they want impact talent added to this roster. And when you scan the free agent market, there just aren't many true alpha options sitting there waiting. So the conversation naturally shifts to the uncomfortable truth. If you want that caliber, you might have to get it through a trade. And this is where the chess starts. Brown is an emotional, ultra-competitive player, and there have been moments in Philly where frustration has been part of the public discussion. Pair that with the respect he's always had for Vrabel from the Titans days, and Patriots Nation starts connecting dots. I get it. A receiver like that changes coverages. He changes third and long. He changes red zone math. He makes the run game cleaner and gives your quarterback easier answers because defenses can't just sit back and play comfortable. Be honest. How many times in recent seasons have you watched our offense line up and felt like the other defense was the one reacting? That's what a legit WR1 does. He flips who's uncomfortable, but there's a cost. And this is where the comment section is going to split in half. Would you trade real draft capital for a player with an injury history and a big money deal? Or do you stick to building through the draft and keep your ammunition? The reality is the Patriots are picking late in round 1, and they've got a valuable second-round spot too. Depending on what the Eagles would even want, you can build a package, you can negotiate, you can show aggression without lighting the entire future on fire. What I don't buy is the idea that it could never happen. When nobody shuts it down and the coach is still out there talking warmly about the guy, the door stays cracked. And if that door swings open, the entire offseason shifts. But while everyone's staring at the offense, there's a defensive opportunity floating around that could be cheaper and just as transformative in its own way. Because you don't win in January on highlights alone. You win with a stable middle, clean communication, and people you trust on every down. That's why the Tremaine Edmunds situation is something I'm not ignoring. There's talk that the Bears have given Edmunds permission to explore a trade. He's only 27, and he's under contract for 2026 with a pretty hefty number, which is exactly why Chicago might even be willing to have the conversation. I can already hear the reaction. Linebacker? Again? But stay with me. Vrabel's entire identity is physical, disciplined, smart defense. Last season made it painfully obvious that depth at that second level isn't optional. Harold Landry III was brought in to be a major piece, but injuries got in the way and reminded everyone of the simplest truth in this league. You cannot build a serious defense assuming 1 or 2 guys will be perfectly healthy all year. Edmunds is the kind of linebacker who doesn't just pile up tackles. He changes structure. He closes gaps in the run game. He messes with quarterbacks' reads. He has the range to impact throws over the middle, and that kind of presence lets everyone else play faster. And the best part, strategically, is what it unlocks. With Edmunds inside, you can keep Landry more focused on pass rush situations, where he's at his best, instead of asking him to be everything all at once. Here's the tension point. What does it cost? With just 1 year left and a big cap number, the trade price could come down to something more reasonable than people expect. Not a premium, not a sell the farm scenario, more like a calculated swing with a mid-round type of value, depending on the market. But if New England makes that kind of move, it sends a message. It says the Patriots aren't building for someday. They're trying to speed this thing up, and fans will love the aggression until the expectations come with it. The locker room feels that pressure. The building feels it. And under Vrabel, you don't get to live in the middle. And speaking of pressure, there's a situation hanging over this team that's way more sensitive than trade chatter. It involves a name everybody knows, and it could affect not just the scheme, but the culture and the cap sheet too. Let me say this carefully. Christian Barmore becoming a possible departure topic isn't fun news. It's a philosophy test. ESPN floated the idea that he might need a change of scenery, and the reasoning wasn't only football. They talked about how the Patriots would have to replace his interior pass rush ability, and they also pointed to an off-field issue, an assault and battery charge. I'm not getting into details. The point for Patriots fans is what that kind of situation does to decision-making inside the building. On the field, Barmore's ceiling is real. When he was rolling, he was a game wrecker inside. In 2023, he put together the kind of season that made the extension feel obvious. Sacks, tackles for loss, quarterback hits. It looked like he was becoming a pillar. But 2025 wasn't the same. The impact dipped, the production dropped, and when you combine a down year with off-field noise, the margin gets thinner fast. Especially with a coach like Vrabel. That guy is about standard, accountability, trust. Now the cold part. Moving on from Barmore isn't clean financially. Cutting him would be painful, the cap hit would be massive, and the savings wouldn't be the kind of thing you do casually. So if there's a realistic path for him to be out this offseason, the cleaner route would be a trade. Recoup some value, change the situation, and reshape the rotation without eating the worst possible cap outcome. And this is where Patriots Nation is going to argue. Some fans will say culture comes first, no exceptions. Others will say, you don't give away talent like that, especially interior pressure, because that's rare. And both sides have a point. Because if a player of that caliber becomes movable, the message to the roster is simple. Nobody has a permanent seat. Reputation won't protect you. The standard is the standard. So the question becomes, if Barmore goes, how do you replace what he does? Interior pass rush isn't easy to find. You can keep rotational guys, you can bring in another piece, you can double up through the draft, but it costs resources either way. And when you stack it with everything else we're talking about, a potential WR1 trade, a potential linebacker trade, and a possible shakeup inside, you start to feel what Vrabel is doing. He's trying to align this team with his identity, even if it hurts. Which brings us to the draft angle, because the draft might be the way they balance all of these decisions and still come out with a defense built to attack. If you wanted a clear clue about what Vrabel is prioritizing, it showed up at the Combine. The Patriots interviewed more than 10 edge rushers before the event even got rolling. That's not curiosity, that's priority. And one of the names connected to those interviews is Texas A&M's Cassius Howell. Let's start with impact. He led draft-eligible players in SEC sacks last season with 11.5. 2 highly productive years for the Aggies, plus a full career track record with 27 sacks total going back to Bowling Green. That matters because it's not just a one-year flash. There's a pattern of getting into the backfield. Now the but, and this is where the debate will start. He's listed at 6'2", which isn't the classic prototype for a 3-down NFL defensive end, and that can show up versus the run at times. So the question is fair. Is he a situational pass rusher early, a sub-package weapon, or can he grow into an every-down piece? Think about that for a second. The Patriots are picking number 31. That's not the part of round 1 where you get to play safe and still land a perfect, finished product. You need conviction. And Vrabel's conviction seems simple. Pressure changes everything. A pass rush that can win on 3rd and long hides coverage issues, speeds up quarterbacks, forces bad decisions, and creates turnovers. That's playoff defense. Howell, from the way he's been described, is bendy, polished with his rush moves, and not coming in as a full 3-down edge right away. The comparison that's been thrown out is Will McDonald IV with the Jets, which tells you the style. Speed, angles, attacking the pocket, not just overpowering tackles with size. So here we are. Zoom out, and the whole day makes sense. A.J. Brown as a possibility signals hunger for a true WR1. Edmunds as a potential opportunity signals smart roster building without panic spending. The Barmore cloud signals that Vrabel's culture standard is real, and it might come with hard choices. And the Howell draft focus screams what the defense is supposed to become: relentless pressure. So I'm throwing it to you. What move would you make first, and what move would you never accept? Drop your take in the comments. Hit like if you're riding with the direction. Subscribe if you want every twist of this offseason, because Patriots Nation, this one isn't going to be quiet.